Honestly, guys, I'll use the word romantic. One of the most romantic stories in the world of movies, and I use the term properly here, is the story of Ghostbusters Afterlife. And I say romantic because there's a beautiful element to it here of not only is this a beloved franchise that's returning, but you have the son of the original director coming back to direct it. A son who, by the way, just happens to be probably a top 10, top 15 director to me. I mean, when you look at the films of Jason Reitman from Juno and Thank You for Smoking and Up in the Air, I mean, he's a tremendous filmmaker in his own right. Good Canadian kid, by the way. Just want to throw that out there as well. And so a lot of people have been talking about, Ghostbusters Afterlife, the first kind of trailer dropped for it. Well, now a new trailer this morning has dropped for the Ghostbusters Afterlife teaser. Now, it's both at the same time very similar to the original trailer that came out a little while ago, but at the same time, it had a completely different feel to it, which is odd because sometimes, they put out very similar trailers or they put out trailers that feel very different. This was a very similar trailer, and yet at the same time, it felt very different and new. Of course, that last little bit where you see the hand answering the phone and saying, answering the phone and saying, "We're closed." And obviously we all recognize Bill Murray's voice. But seeing the old Ghostbusters commercial, and of course, seeing whenever you get to see the Ecto-1, you get to see the car. It's always great. Listen, we always say the job of a trailer is to take your excitement level wherever it is, guys, and bump it up a couple of notches. This trailer did that for me. I have not been super excited for this Ghostbusters. I've been looking forward to it. This trailer made me legit excited for it. So it was really good to see. Scott, you just had a chance to watch this trailer. Where have your expectations and excitement level for Ghostbusters Afterlife been before the trailer, and how has this trailer affected it?
Okay, well, first of all, over the last year and a half since we've been sort of home, I've watched the original Ghostbusters so many times. It's just one of those movies that, even though it's a classic when it came out in 84, it's one of the best sort of genre films ever, the way that it is a fusion of so many tones. And of course, Bill Murray is the quintessential Bill Murray character. And, Ivan Reitman, it's one of his best movies. And it's an all-time classic, very, very rewatchable, absolute 4-star out of 4 movie. Ghostbusters 2, I didn't really like that much. I thought that the Paul Feig movie with the female Ghostbusters was an underrated film. I did enjoy it. I didn't think it was great. I thought the last half hour kind of fell apart into a CGI fest. But having said that, even though I've been sort of disappointed with the other Ghostbusters movies, knowing that Jason Reitman, like you said, that the son of the guy who directed the original film is directing this reimagined reboot of Ghostbusters, you had me at hello with Jason Reitman. And I agree with you completely about Jason Reitman, John, because Up in the Air is his very best movie. And that movie, when it came out in 2009, was my #1 movie of 2009, even over The Hurt Locker. And that movie it still holds up in the air. But watching the trailer, which I literally just watched moments before we went live today on your show, I got the chills. I got goosebumps. I got the feels with the sort of the kids in the film. And, Paul Rudd looks like the perfect person to sort of take it over on his shoulders, at least on camera. We've been waiting for this movie for a while. I think it's going to be worth the wait. I think that Jason Reitman is not just directing a Jason Reitman movie. He's directing a Jason Reitman and Ivan Reitman movie. And I think that if there's any chance that Ghostbusters will come close to being what it was, Afterlife will bring it back to life.
I got a lot of those chills too. Rob, you had a chance to watch this trailer. You and I talked a little bit beforehand, and you seemed to quite enjoy it. What was your reaction to the new trailer?
I have to say that I was actually quite moved by the direction that they've taken this in. I mean, there's definitely, I dare say, an E.T. vibe in it. A single mother is trying to put together a life with her children, and she's worried about one kid. The other kid seems to be doing okay. So to me, that is a really legit human story. Well, then on the other hand, you know, why are we here? Why are we in this town where there's no fault lines, and what's going on? And you know, we're talking, it's now 37 years after the original Ghostbusters took place and in universe canonical time. And I guess Carrie Coon is who I love, by the way. Carrie Coon and Paul Rudd, I can't imagine a better duo in a movie together because I love them both. And you know, watching a child, I have a soft spot for any story about nerdy kids who come into their own through their wit and their intelligence and their knowledge. And it really looks like this movie is smart. Even though it's comedic, it looks like it's a smart genre film that deals with all the things that you want to deal with, like the internet. Let's look up these Ghostbusters commercials, because why would you know about them if they're 37 years old? You know, what would, and so all of that, by the time you see the Ecto one in all of its glory, they bring back Slimer and the new iteration of the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. I mean, I was kind of moved by where they're taking, to me, this is the exact kind of reboot and sequel that I love. It canonically works in universe with the original films. It gives us a brand new story with an emphasis on different plot points, and yet it still reveres where it came from. And I you know, the same way that I thought Creed did that. And by the time you get to the phone call at the end of the trailer, I was like choked up, man.
Well, let me ask you a question, Rob. Are you a god?
Yes.
There
yes,
you go.
God, I am.
Are you a god?
You've learned.
Let me ask
I
you
am.
guys this though. Let me ask you guys this. In all seriousness, while a bunch of us are having a lot of nostalgia flashbacks and all this kind of stuff, there are two realities here that we have to look at. Number one, it has been a long time since those first Ghostbusters movies. It's been a long time. Number two, while I'm with you, Scott, I did not hate the most. I think people jumped because it was trendy. I think people jumped on the let's all bash on that Paul Feig Ghostbusters movie. I didn't think it was great by any stretch of the imagination, like not at all. But I remember, like, I saw that one with Schnepp, Rob, and we both walked out. We said that actually wasn't all that bad, and wasn't all that good either. There was too many cheap little flashbacks or Easter egg, like obvious Easter eggs for the original films that kind of got away from itself. But the reality is that, deservedly or not, that Paul Feig movie was not loved. Let's just put it that way. It was not loved. So you've got a big, long gap of time since the original films. The last thing that came out with the Ghostbusters branding on it was not all that well received. Rob, I got to ask realistically, do you think the audience is hungry for this movie? Now, obviously, a lot of us hardcore guys probably are, but do you think this thing has a chance of having some decent success?
I do, because I think, look, I think every audience is open to great stories well told. And you can tell from this trailer, unless they've done a spectacular job of hiding an unmitigated disaster. One of the things about Jason Reitman as a director, I mean, I think about movies he's made like Up in the Air, which is a film that's all about character and creating people that maybe if they're not the most likable people in the world, you get caught up in their plights. And looking at the trailer for this movie, it looks like there's a lot of warmth. There's a lot of empathy. I like the totally disparate location that it takes place in, with these wide open, expansive Smallville, like Richard Donner from 1978 looks at the surrounding community. It looks like it's the last place that a Ghostbusters movie should take place in. And yet I was caught up in it. I mean, I could tell from the trailer, I'm like, this movie looks good. It looks good on multiple levels. So I think, yeah, I mean, even if you don't know Ghostbusters and you've never seen Ghostbusters, obviously you're going to have no nostalgia. I thought that it was intriguing from a storytelling point of view. So yeah, I think this trailer, like you said, it did its job well. And if you don't know Ghostbusters, I think maybe you'd be intrigued about this movie. And if you do know Ghostbusters, it goes straight to the top of your must-see list.
All right, guys, well, listen. Oh, go ahead, Scott.
No, I just want to say I hope you're right, Rob. And I hope that the movie is as good as it looks.
Me too.
I hope it's even better than it looks. But what I'm worried about is this. Like John said, a lot of people did sort of pounce on the last Ghostbusters movie because it was like trendy to do so.
Yeah.
And there was just a lot of bad press because, oh, it didn't do that well, and so on and so on. So my fear is that a lot of people will look at Afterlife and say, oh, really? Another Ghostbusters movie?
Yeah.
Oh, that last one, blah, 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 whatever. So that's my fear. But what my hope is that people go, oh, okay, another Ghostbusters movie. And it's called Afterlife. So it's a new life. And they see Finn Wolfhard from, Stranger Things. And like you said, Rob, it's a completely different setting from the New York City setting of the other movies. And again, the Jason Reitman, Ivan Reitman thing. So I hope that there is a groundswell of support for Afterlife so that it all turns out well in the end.
Well, this is the type of trailer that could possibly give it that boost. The question is for you guys. What did you think about the brand new Ghostbusters Afterlife trailer? I think it's the best piece of marketing they put out so far. I think this will raise the bar for it. How do you guys feel about it? Jump down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts.